Hey guys, be sure to press like and subscribe. Today we're going to be talking about starting a business in the Philippines and why it's not a good idea. Most businesses over here just don't succeed. They fail. And they fail miserably. And a lot of people think like, oh, I can make a lot of money over there. There's so many people. The profit margin is this much. It's very tiny. And you're competing with so many people because you'll start a business over here and Joe Blow down the street will start one just to compete with you because he sees you started a store. So he figures, okay, I'm going to take some of that business away from you no matter what it costs me. Because I'm already set up for this stuff and I got some things to do it and I have all the friends. So I'm going to do it to compete with you. And that's what happens in a lot of cases here. I see a lot of people here, they start up all different types of businesses. There's all sorts of expats coming in here starting up businesses. And afterwards, they kind of regret it. They really do. They regret it. I've seen people start up gyms and I've seen people start up stores and franchises. And a lot of them later on, they regret starting those businesses because of the profit margin is so little, or they find out that the business, the way the hoops that you have to jump through to start a business over here is just too much. It's too expensive. There's too much graft. There's too many things going on here to have a successful business. And kudos to the guys that do start a business over here and make it work. That's great. But the majority of people just don't do it. And don't think that you can beat the system, because you probably won't beat the system over here. I've tried to start a business over here a long time ago when I was young and dumb, and I started a jeepney business over here, and it failed miserably because I got scammed. Okay, and that's another issue all by itself. Okay, and I get scammed by family members. Okay, so, and I've told this story before. They told me one time that the motor went just a few months after we started the business. That supposedly the motor went. Okay, so being young and dumb, I sent them the money for the motor, and I know I had a feeling like they were just stealing from me and the motor didn't go, and I was pretty sure that that's what was going on. But they kept telling me no, and I figured, well, okay, they're my relatives, they're not going to lie to me. Sure enough, they lied to me, and I think I look back at all the different scams I've seen people go through over here, and businesses that I've seen fail. Now my business, granted, that took place back in like the late '80s, early '90s, stuff like that. That during that time, but I mean, it's happening today. A lot of people when they come over here, a lot of young guys or new guys when they step over here and they come over here, a lot of people are gonna be saying, "Hey, buddy, let's start a business together. If you give me some money, I can make some money off of this because I could double that money like within 2 weeks or something like that." Usually, what happens is somebody ends up getting scammed or robbed, or the money goes missing, or something happens, or some disaster, and they make up some big story and they can't pay you back. And don't think that it doesn't happen, because it does, guys. And a lot of people that come over here are too trusting, because most Filipino people are good people, but there's some scammers that are just so awful. It's you see it all the time here. I've seen some really heavy duty Filipino scammers over here that know their stuff and they know how to do it. And what they do is they get people involved, and then they come up with some sob story that something happened, they got robbed on the way to the bank with the money or something like that, or something happened. And what are you going to do when that happens? There's nothing you can do. They know how to do it, and just come over here and live off your retirement and be happy with your wife or girlfriend or whatever, and don't get involved in stuff like that. Unless you want to do vlogging or you want to do stocks, but make sure you have enough money that you can afford to lose that money too and still be fine with your retirement. Remember what I just said. Make sure you can afford to lose that money, because if you lose it, that's it. It's gone. So make sure you can afford to lose it. Use extra money that, if it goes missing, it's not going to hurt you, okay? Don't use your emergency money. Don't use anything like that. Don't use your medical money or whatever you have it aside for. Don't take that risk. A lot of guys come over here, they get caught up in these scams really fast, and they lose their money really fast. I see in most of the guys that come over here and end up going back to the States are people that failed in a really bad business venture over here. I see it happen all the time. I see these people, they get ripped off even by other expats. I've seen it. Expats rip off other expats. Happens all the time over here. It's sad to say that it happens, but it does happen. And this is like kind of my warning to you guys. You don't trust anybody over here unless you're running the whole shebang yourself. Start something on Amazon or something like that, or do some TEFL courses and teach English online or something like that if you want to. But that's a little bit difficult for older people to do because a lot of the places won't hire older people. So just be careful, guys, when you do start something over here that it can be successful. Look at all the little tiny things that, go into the business and make sure it's going to work. Run it through your brain a couple times. Make sure you check on every little detail about that business because it can fail. It can fail, especially in the Philippines, it can fail. I'm not saying businesses don't succeed over here. They do. But it's very few. There was a guy up north a while back that I've heard this story about 5 or 6 times, and I heard it from somebody that knew the guy, supposedly. And it was about a guy that married a girl that was, I believe he married her, and she was a dentist, okay? And she asked him for some money to start up her dental practice. He gave her a lot of money. A lot of money, okay? And she started up the dental practice, got it all started up, and then told him, bye-bye. And you don't want to have that happen to you guys. Don't be stupid with your money and trust people that much. If that's all your retirement money and that's all your savings, your life savings and stuff like that, wow. That's a big risk you're taking because you trust some woman. And I'm not saying you shouldn't trust your wife, but man, when you trust them with your life savings, that's a tragic thing to do because you put that much money in a woman's hands, you never know what's going to happen. I'm not saying all women are the same, but don't take that risk. And I would say the same to a woman. Don't put all that money in the hands of a man either, because you're taking a terrible risk. It happens. Don't think that it won't happen to you because you're a nice guy or something like that. It's more likely to happen to you because you are a nice guy. And I'm serious when I say that. And I just don't want to see any of you expats come over here, especially you newbies come over here and be robbed blind. If you can't run that business yourself, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's the best advice that any expat will ever give you, right there. Hold your money tight when you're in the Philippines. Don't let anybody ever get their hands on that money. You want to do stocks? Fine. You want to do a vlog? Fine. You want to do TEFL? Fine. You want to do a small sari store with your wife or something? That's okay. That's small time stuff. You want to get into franchises or something like that? That gets a lot more risky. You want to start a bigger business by yourself or a jeepney business? Don't even bother. Don't even bother. Land, stuff like that, where it's in somebody else's name, don't get involved. I'm not telling you that your wife is a con artist or a rip-off artist. It's just not worth the risk in many cases, unless you're very extreme. You're extremely wealthy and you can afford to take the hit if something happens. Okay, if you want to do that, fine. You've been with your wife for 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, and you come over here, and you want to start a business. Maybe then, I would say, yeah, you're probably safer. But any of you new guys coming in the country and you get married to somebody and think like a year later you can still trust your wife, you might not be able to. You might not be able to because I see too much of that happening over here where people take off with somebody's money. It's tragic, but it happens. And when it happens during your retirement with your retirement money, and you want to come over, some guys come over here, all they have is Social Security, so they have like a $500,000 or $250,000 or something. They figure, well, I'll start a business when I get to the Philippines with my new wife. Then the wife, who doesn't have any business savvy, she doesn't know what she's doing, tells this guy what to do because she's hearing it from her uncle who's ready to scam the guy. And that's what happens. The guy ends up getting scammed. This type of stuff is like a daily happening in the Philippines. It happens daily. I hear it all the time. I hear, like I said, expats robbing other expats. That's That's the ultimate, but it does happen. I've seen it happen. Okay? I've seen it happen. You know, these people, they make promises that they can't keep and stuff like that, and then they end up, you know, screwing over their buddy. You know, and they basically steal that money off their buddy. They make some sort of deal with them, and then they don't keep up their part of the bargain. You know, maybe it has to do with land or a rental or a lease or something like that. There's always some scam going on, guys. And actually, some of the expats out there can be some of the worst scammers in their own right. I've heard of a few scams going on between some of the expats here that are pretty bad. And then they up and take off and move, you know, because they know that nobody's going to go after them. Nobody's going to chase after them. Nobody's going to do anything. Nobody's going to prosecute them or anything. I've seen guys that come over here. They got a great business going with their wife. They bought some rice fields. Things are going great. They're going dandy. You know, they're selling all kinds of rice each year. They're with this woman for 5 years. All of a sudden, the woman meets somebody else. And that guy sees that that woman has money. So that woman tells the guy to get out of the house. I've seen people become homeless because they were kicked out of the marital home and lose everything. Lose everything. Okay, because of that. Okay, and they had to fight to get some of that back. And in some cases, they end up spending just as much money as they're going after. Is it worth it? No. That's why I say, guys, be really, really careful in coming to the Philippines and thinking you can start a business. I would say about 2 out of every 100 businesses probably make it. Maybe a little bit more than that, but it's not many. I'm talking about bigger businesses. I'm not talking about sari stores or something like that. I'm talking about like jeepney businesses, things like that. Usually people think like, oh, I've been in this business for 5 years, I'm fine now. And then they find themselves 2 years later going through an annulment or something like that, or their wife took off from them or something, or disappeared, you know, and all of a sudden the property is getting sold because it's in her name and the papers were forged and things are gone. It happens. It happens. It's sad to say, but it happens, you know. So I just don't want people to come over here and think that they're totally safe 100%. I want people to be thinking. And over here, you really have to have your head on all the time. You have to have this thing thinking and flicked on all the time, you know, when you're in the Philippines, because they're a lot faster on the thinking sometimes than you are, you know. So just be careful, guys. Just stay away from businesses. Live off your retirement. Live good. You want to do something that keeps you busy, do a vlog. Do an Amazon business, you know, something like that, a small Amazon online business or something like that. If you can do something online, that's great. You know, but if you're thinking about starting something over here, at the most, if you're going to start a business, just do a sari store. Or maybe if you have some, a rice business with your wife or something like that, selling rice or something, yeah, that's okay. You know, something small like that where you know you can make some money, that's fine. But be careful. God bless, guys. Take care. I hope that helps.